Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I apologize for this on my lip. I actually burnt my mouth last night, burnt my lip. I just made a toasted cheese sandwich and tomato and cheese sandwich. Bit into it and the tomato came and it hit my lip and it burnt. So it's a burn mark. So I apologize. I know it makes, it's hello short order. And I've been demonetized again. Apparently, I don't make any original content, so I thought I'd better come on live and you know. I know we were just in DMs. I've got to do a video on the whole. I want to do a whole video on the Reynolds court saga because that, and I'm so disappointed they're not showing that live because that is popcorn worthy. I've never seen a politician. You would have thought that she was the one that had the experience and not Whitney Higgins by the way that she's carrying on, to be perfectly honest. You got the email? Oh, look, who knows? Yes, apparently I don't have original content on my channel, allegedly. Considering that I did a whole plan with me. So this, look at this. Look at this. We are so far behind. I've been busy. I don't even know where to begin.
Think about everything that's been put out by Katie Joy.
I think that it's terrible. I think that it sucks that, and there's a reason why Katie Joy has I had to fact check this, but from what I've heard, she's got like more than a dozen lawsuits against her because it's terrible that she goes on her platform and takes all this information that was confided in her through friendship. And then once it turns sour, she goes and releases everything. And it's just a terrible, part of your character to do something like that, and you were a friend of the family for 5 years. And then to then go, to flip on your content creator switch and just like be a complete betrayer of trust and put out all private conversations via text, via DMs, etc. Something that I would never do. I'm not going to, if I ever have a DM conversation or a text conversation, I'm not going to screenshot it and then put them on blast for it. That's just, I just think that that's a gross thing to do as anybody. And that's exactly what she's done. She's trying to profit off of the trust that she built with Gypsy through betrayal and hop on the hate train because that's what gets a lot of views to her channel. So
Ken, Christy and Gypsy knew I was a content creator when Christy became my friend. Christy was aware of what my job was. Why do you think Christy wanted to be my friend? Don't you think it's just weird that Christy is constantly befriending content creators? For a while, I refused to see that she was using me, but I was pretty clearly onto it the longer Gypsy was out of prison, how much they were using me and how much they were lying to me. And if I am a content creator putting out false narratives of information they tell me, isn't it a duty of mine to correct that with the truth? If you've been fed lies for 5 years and told a story that wasn't true and you put that on your platform, wouldn't it be responsible to correct that with facts? I noticed that you never said that I lied. Isn't that weird? You never once said that I lied about anything that I've said. And P.S., I haven't been sued 12 times. Every single one of the lawsuits, one, which is currently in court and likely will get dismissed, have settled or were dismissed. So I haven't done any. I know what it's like to be gaslit and lied to by Gypsy and Christy. I know how confusing it is because they're constantly spinning narrative. Get out of the fog and realize all of the lies.
So anyway, yes.
Criminal
so what
online.
did Ken
about everything?
Yes. You got that? Yeah. What? Yes. The court. From what I've heard, from what I've read about the Reynolds case, it is fascinating. Why does she sure that 7M? I don't know why she's so certain 7M will think she thinks it's going to be dismissed. Now she's telling everyone to go to Becca Scoops. So several of my followers recommended a channel to me that is doing an in-depth look at Gypsy Blanchard's case. Becca Scoops has a 5-part series. Becca is a retired RN who specialised in psychiatric care. Her career in dealing with patients with serious personality disorders and mental illness gives her a perspective that I hadn't considered. Through her videos, I was able to piece together everything I was feeling and experiencing through my connection to the family. Becca's husband is her partner. I would like to think that Becca's husband is her partner. Her husband worked for over 30 years as a private investigator. Through their partnership, they were able to speak to numerous sources, law enforcement, about the Gypsy case. This case is not how it appears. I would recommend watching her channel. She dives into Gypsy's alleged antisocial personality disorder. That contributed to the crime. She also details the medical procedures that Gypsy's defense claimed were unnecessarily. Well, she talked about, yeah, I know, that's the first time I heard her say about settling. She always said she wasn't going to settle. Her channel is Scoops on YouTube. Gypsy's family is currently not happy with these videos. They have a friend named Bree attacking Becca relentlessly. In my experience with the family, they attack anyone that figures out the truth and the almost decade-long con of Gypsy's case. Update, Gypsy did not contact Nicholas Godejohn. She contacted other inmates again this week.
Tomorrow, I guess. Yeah. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully they need, I mean, I don't know. I feel like they should have to need, they need proof. Like, they can't just use a text. I feel like not even text message. They should have been, like, I don't know, something. Like, because people can use, there's, like, all kind of crazy phone apps and everything, girl. There's phone apps that can actually send. Okay, so there's phone apps where you can type in, you can type in, like, your number. Say somebody can I feel like there's no way they can send you back to prison on this. Like, I would even bring up that, be like, I absolutely did never, like, I would be like, I would lie. I would say, absolutely didn't. And be like, there has to be a way that this text message was, like, falsified or whatever. I don't know. I would just fight for your life, girl, because there are ways. That's the reason I feel like at the end of the day, like, they would have to prove it, because there are ways for people to do that. There are actual apps, girl, real apps that will show it's your phone number, even though it's not. Oh, shit. Let me. Oh, hold on 1 second. Just long.
So Bree didn't know she was live, hence why her phone's going off and telling her to tell her PO it was a fake app number that tried to contact Nick. So it says, was caught trying to come up with a lie with her friend Bree on TikTok. The video was captured while Bree was still alive on her TikTok. Gypsy was reported for contacting her co-defendant, Nicholas Godejohn. At least that's what the video says. This was posted yesterday on TikTok, whenever that was, 3 days ago. I'm so late. Bree tells Gypsy to lie to a parole officer about contacting someone. According to the video, it's about Nick. It's unclear when this video was taken, but Bree is clearly telling Gypsy to lie to the parole officer. This is posted by Penosaurus on TikTok. Then she said, friends and family play a critical part in aiding parolees with their re-entry back into society. Hello, Lulu. Gracie, Gypsy Rose, don't know why I looked at Gracie Lee and I'm going, why am I saying Gracie Lee? Gypsy Rose Blanchard has constantly chosen to surround herself with yes people that enable and conceal her bad behaviour. Gypsy's bestie Bree is known to attack people that report truth on Gypsy's case. Ree has also caught on video telling Gypsy to lie to a parole officer. Okay, I'm back. I don't know what's happening here. Well, apparently not only have I been demonetized, apparently I can't go live. I don't know. Anyway, so let me go back. Who's kidnapped me? Oh. Anyway, so she said, yes. It's unclear who Gypsy contacted. My screen went black. Well, I'm back. Christy, however, a real friend would urge their friend to make better choices, take responsibility for their role, and never encourage their friend to lie to a parole officer. Christy has surrounded Gypsy with friends that do not push back and enable bad behaviour. I personally have watched Christy and her friends attempt to cover up Gypsy's bad behaviour and push lies out to the public. There were unconfirmed reports yesterday police were at Christy and Rod's house due to the dispute between Gypsy and Christy. This claim was denied by Christy on TikTok. What can't be denied is that Gypsy is caught on a live video discussing how she can lie to a PO to avoid being sent back to prison. Gypsy is not reformed. Her friend Bree should not be allowed to have any contact with her anymore. This also makes me wonder what else Bree has tried to help Gypsy cover up. Gypsy adds insult to injury by wearing a wifey shirt given to her by Ryan. Now that's original content we could all see on live stream. Yeah, well, that's right. The day she shares about her pregnancy. She claims she's 15 weeks and the baby is the size of a mango. The baby is the size of an apple at 15 weeks. The baby will not be the size of the mango until 10 weeks, which makes us again question her actual due date. And then someone says, I wonder if she's actually pregnant. So she's saying the baby's the size of a melon. Well, that should be further along then, and it's not Ken's. Now she's back on the side of Nick Godejohn because she says he's never changed his story. There's something wrong with our justice system that a man with an IQ of 82 diagnosed with autism and never lived independently and struggled to care for himself could be tried for a crime the same way a man with an average IQ and no disability would be tried. I feel so bad that the Blanchards refused to see how much Gypsy preyed on a man with significant disabilities to not only do her crime but to take the fall for her. They villainize Nicholas and totally ignore his significant disabilities. Even in prison, Nicholas is known to struggle with ALS. Nicholas would be better served to be placed in a mental health institution to receive the care he needs. He also should have had an advocate with him when he was read his Miranda rights. Fun fact, the midwife might tell you an approximate size, so Gyp use that site. That is true. We need a justice system that better accounts for a person's ability to deliberate and truly understand choices. I don't think Nicholas understood. I don't think he should be released or free, but I do think he deserves a fair trial and a more appropriate treatment in a state or health facility. I don't think he's the monster the Blanchards painted to me. I think he is vulnerable and manipulated by a sociopath. She's changed her tune on Nicholas, hasn't she? Guess he's back. Bree the liar is back. Gypsy's bestie.
Stupid. Me and Gypsy was having a private conversation that I didn't realize I was on live yet. I mean, I knew I was on live, but I wasn't thinking. I covered up the camera, but not to say, I don't know. But because it wasn't that big of a deal, it wasn't talking about nothing like top secret. And, everybody's trying to always get Gypsy in prison. They always sending stuff to the PO. And she was talking about basically like what constitutes like a real reason, like, just somebody sending a text message or whatever. Like, that's basically all it was. And I was just, if y'all would have listened to the rest of the clip that they didn't put on there, I was like, oh my God. I was sitting on here telling you to lie. Like, I was laughing like it was a joke. And as soon as I turn off mute, if I wouldn't have turned off mute, you would have heard me saying, well, everybody thinks you lie all the time anyway. So what's the difference? Like, ha ha ha. But I really don't care about the video. She doesn't care about the video. The PO doesn't care about the video. Yeah, and that's all I'm gonna say about it. Like, because it's stupid, and I'm not gonna, like, I have way other things in my mind than to be worried about that. Especially now there's this narrative I just heard that people saying I was setting Gypsy up. It's so stupid. Setting her up for what? Even if I would have been so serious about what I was saying and it was about something specific, like me giving her bad advice, say if that was real advice, like what would get her in trouble is her taking that advice, not me giving her that advice. Even friends give stupid advice sometimes, but I was not giving her that advice. Like, nobody would understand because there's no context to it. There is none. Like, it was literally about nothing specific. But it's just stupid. Like, people just need content. So of course, like, oh my God, I knew, like, people are acting like I'm so surprised that, like, people always are recording me from the second I get on live to the second I get off. Like, you don't think I knew that was going to go out there? I would have done some kind of damage control if I really was worried about it, but I wasn't. Gypsy never said anything wrong in that video. But yeah, that's all it was. And that's why, like I said, I'm not worried about it. Gypsy, like I said, Gypsy, they never had. People are ridiculous. I looked at the ring light that people were going around saying that's not even Christy's neighborhood nor her house. No, take a clip that I already knew existed before it was even leaked, because I know people are just ready to always record me. If I was worried about it, I would have freaked out and got off the live. Me and Gypsy wasn't talking about anything specific. And even if we were, a friend giving bad advice is a friend giving bad advice. It doesn't mean Gypsy has to take it. And I wasn't giving bad advice. It was clearly a joke. And if you would have listened to the rest of it, I laugh. Not only do I laugh, but
fate will be decided tomorrow, I guess.
yeah. Well, hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully,
that was
hopefully,
brave.
like I said, hopefully.
But someone's written here, I like listening to your stuff, but now it seems you're getting way too very obsessive about Gypsy. Are you angry with her and Christy? I'm not downing you, but I'm curious why you're so obsessive. And then someone else says, can we move on to another person, please? We get it's your job to report, but damn, it's getting obsessive. If I was Gypsy, I'd be worried you'd be peeking through her windows at some point. This is allegedly my opinion and from conversations from Christy Blanchard. Who's Bree again? Bree is apparently the person that Gypsy's got in her corner at the moment. That's taken over from KJ. If that makes any sense. Okay. So just remember that every single thing that Gypsy is posting on social media right now is an instruction by her PR company. Red Banyan was hired to help Gypsy get out of her PR crisis. She believes that the company can rebirth No, that person, I don't believe that person is in prison. No, not that one. Oh, it's confusing. There's so many players. I cannot work it out. I can't keep up. So you miss it. I miss a couple of days short order. Like I actually like go live life and work, and I can't keep up. Of course she has. I have no doubt. Red Banyan. So one of their instructions was to post bump updates with fruit. The PR team might find her wifey shirt offensive given that Ryan gave her this shirt. She's gone through a divorce and cheated on Ryan. She's going through a divorce and cheated on Ryan with Ken. Gypsy is surrounded by people who think that they can fool the public into believing she did not orchestrate the unaliving of her mum. The people around her call outraged citizens haters. I tried to explain to Christy and Gypsy that she doesn't have haters. Haters are phenomenal. Are a phenomenon that celebrities and public figures have, and that they hate often for insignificant reasons. The individuals that I have spoken to, along with my personal opinion, is the concern is that Gypsy is not reformed. She is a convicted felon connected to a heinous crime. She does not model behaviours to the general public that should be emulated or repeated. Gypsy has children and teenage girls that believe she's a queen. They are watching a convicted murderer gain fame and money off an act. This can and will lead to a copycat behaviour by teens wanting fame. Not only the above information, but their actual laws that Gypsy and her family are deliberately bypassing to ensure that Gypsy isn't directly paid for her participation in interviews or shows related to her conviction. Trust funds were set up that went in Gypsy's name. Christy told me that contracts were signed by her husband and her instead of Gypsy. When Gypsy married Ryan Anderson, Ryan was allegedly used to sign contracts with Lifetime and book publishers. Ask yourself, why would Ryan sign a publishing contract for a book he didn't write or contribute to? Gypsy and her family know they can be sued for what they are doing. Christy told me Dee Dee's family is too stupid to sue them. Actually, there's another clip I've got to show you from TikTok where she said that that the Blanchards won't sue her. She's they don't have the money to sue her. Today I received information about Gypsy Rose's Blanchard case that completely changed everything I know on its head. A source with knowledge of the situation alleges that Rod and Christy Blanchard were full aware that Gypsy is not a victim of Munchausen by proxy. The source alleged that the family has told people that they are aware that Dee Dee did not medically aid her daughter. Additionally, the source alleged that Rod and Christy are aware that the entire scheme by Dee Dee was to defraud charities and receive gifts. Police were initially investigating the case as a fraud case and medical malingering. Police believed that Gypsy was involved in the fraud with her mum. Unfortunately, the case never was fully investigated. The source also alleged that Gypsy has had numerous violations and warnings from her parole officer. Recent issues included staying too many nights in a row at Ken's house without permission. Ken has unresolved misdemeanor cases from Texas, and Gypsy's not allowed to live near him. Hang on. Technically, if he's got misdemeanors, she shouldn't be allowed to associate with him, right? I found 5 cases in Texas that remain open with active fines that remain unpaid by Ken. Not being home at a designated time and breaking curfew set by the PO. Going to a bar with friends and flashing a bartender. Was that Ken? Contacting inmates through Ryan's account. Scheming to lie to a parole officer with the help of her friend Brie. This apparently a big issue that Gypsy is facing at the moment. Someone to click, they won't sue me. Quote, how many times has this happened now? I know, right? Conduct to social media related videos, comments and live streams, associations with people that she's prohibited from. Given all the chaos, life at the Blanchard home is hit a boiling point on Friday. The source allegedly and verified with proof that Rod Blanchard left the house. He apparently stayed with a family member. Gypsy and Christy have been fighting relentlessly over money and her pregnancy. Some people around the Blanchards are now alleging they don't think the Gypsy's pregnant at all. Called it! Thank you! Called it! I'll be updating with a video with more information. Oh, right. Kamala Harris has picked Governor Tim Walz as her. So he's the governor of Minnesota. As a Minnesotan, I love him. He's done so much for our education systems, women reproductive rights, access to healthcare for LGBTQ, helped us heal amid so much heartache due to George Floyd's unaliving for police, and has been compassionate to all. Tim Walz is a military veteran, worked as a teacher, and he's a gun owner. He's an amazing, honestly amazing. It'll be a great compliment to Kamala Harris. Now, baby arrives premature. See, I told you it was Ryan's. Well, remember, we've already speculated on all of that. We've already picked all of that. Someone says, Katie, your opinion makes it sound like he's more qualified for presidency than she is. Someone says, come on now, at least be truthful when you try to talk her up. She failed the bar the first time she took it. I'm sure she sucked some eggplant to pass the second time. And you cannot possibly watch videos of her talking and say she's coherent. Her nickname isn't word salad for a reason. Biden talked, but just a bit slower. I wish you guys would share truths about her to get people to support her instead of making up lies about stuff people can look up on the internet anytime. And someone says, I don't support her. And then someone else says, you support the felon. I thought KJ didn't like guns. I was saying I hoped we'd have twin boys and a sparkly unicorn. Right. So I think we're up to date now. And then she's been doing videos on them. I mean, look, she's now getting views on her I think her last video got 117,000 views. So of course she's going to keep making them. There we go. Gypsy, apparently she's called it Gypsy. Gypsy fakes emergency to stop parole. Well, see, I think it's Ryan's. I think it is Ryan's, and I'm with you. I think the baby's Ryan's, first of all. But I wouldn't be surprised if we found out she wasn't actually pregnant. That wouldn't surprise me. That's right. The Blanchards all fought. Yeah, that's right. That now justifies the cult. Right. So here we go. Oh, look, she's using non-original content. Why does she why is she able to keep her stuff? She uses. Well, we're going to find out. Little Miss Lithium. All right. Yeah, so they're a cult now. The cult of the Blanchards. Oh, did you? I heard that a Australian hockey player got arrested in Paris for buying cocaine. My first question is why? Well, there's that too. If I found out she wasn't pregnant, that wouldn't surprise me. But it also wouldn't surprise me if she doesn't fake a miscarriage. But if she is pregnant, I'm certain it's Ryan's.
staying in a hotel for a week. So none of the truth. I'm home. I'm in home. I never left Christy. I don't intend to leave her. Also, that I left Christy, been staying in a hotel for a week. So none of that's the truth. I'm home. I'm in home. I never left Christy. I don't intend to leave her. I love her. I think she's great. She's been a support from Gypsy from day one. And after Katrina, they were relocated, so we didn't know where they were. Christy spent months online reaching out to people, seeing if they knew anything about them, and she finally did find them. So in a lot of cases, Christy's done more than I have regarding Gypsy's support and her well-being. So yeah, she's made some mistakes. I have plenty of big mistakes. We all have, I believe. Even Gypsy, she's still making mistakes. Nobody expects any of us to be perfect, but we're trying to build a family again now, and hopefully progress from here. I learned from my mistakes. So I want to get that out there. Gypsy's here now. Everything's going fine. I think she's pretty sure. Also, about the rumors about Erin Condren, just want to throw a joke in there. I don't think Kim would touch Christy with a 10-foot pole. Hi, Jim. Good morning. Bring it home. Love you. Anyway, so yeah, all good at the Blanchard. One point. Okay.
But remember, she doesn't believe in, some psychic medium tried to join her TikTok and she says, I don't believe in psychic mediums, but yet she calls herself without a crystal ball. Yeah, right. Yeah, oh,
Hi, friend.
I can't believe I said that live. No, boy, I'm naughty.
Friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Tuesday, August 6th, 2024. Did you see that video? That was a very uncomfortable Rod Blanchard being forced to make a TikTok video to defend his wife and to try to squash rumors that he moved out and left Christy, and to squash rumors that Gypsy and Christy didn't have a fight, which he didn't even say if it was.
To defend his wife.
And to try to squash rumors that he moved out and left Christy, and to squash rumors that Gypsy and Christy didn't have a fight, which he didn't even say if it was false. And
that makes no sense.
He also tried to squash rumors that Ken wouldn't touch Christy with a 10-foot pole. I don't know. It was just weird. Yesterday, I told you about a fight that happened last week, and that Christy.
No wonder they want to demonetize you, of course. Oh. Yeah, there is a video that she did yesterday. I haven't done. Look, she's done so many videos over the last couple of days. So I said I've been working. Actually, I could have done one yesterday, but I didn't. To be honest.
Gypsy have been fighting like mad since she moved back in with her parents, and she's been pregnant. And I told you there are some people in the family that are suspicious if Gypsy is pregnant or not. I also told you that she was supposed to be meeting with her parole officer yesterday morning to decide what would happen with her parole and whether or not she would be violated. Now, there is a TikToker that does know Gypsy from Chillicothe. She was in the same prison as her when she was, like, it was in 2016.
I know, I hate it when work gets in the way, and I hate it that all the excitement happens when I'm at work. And I can't do anything about it. I mean, it's really inconsiderate of them all. I was on holidays for 2 weeks and there wasn't much happening. And then I go back to work and it all comes up. So painful.
2016 or 2017. So it's been a minute since she's been there, but she definitely understands how the violations work. According to this former inmate, she discussed that in order for someone to be violated, they have to go to their parole officer's office, and they would be met by the parole officer and possibly a police officer if they're going to violate them. And then they would be taken to a holding facility where they would go back to some facility. And she said she will not go back to Chillicothe. Here's how she explains it.
Two things will happen. The parole officer will call her into the office, sit her down, explain what's happening, and then the police will be there ready to detain her. Or if she doesn't show up, if they cannot find her, then they issue a warrant for her arrest. Once she's back in jail, it's not up to a judge, it's not up to a prosecuting attorney, it's not up to anybody but the parole board if they want to send her back.
It's better than Annie Press. Just watch Joanne and we are great. Thank you. Well, thank you for that. Apparently, Katie was trying to get to 200 subs, 200K subs on TikTok or something. Yeah, she's at that much. I can't even get myself. You missed a lot. You missed a lot. Like as I said, you go, you get life. You get on with normal life, and you miss out on lots of stuff.
The only way a judge gets involved is if she has a new charge that she needs to be sentenced on. The parole board can decide for her to do house arrest, community service. They can decide anything. It doesn't automatically have to go back to prison. There's a lot of misinformation being said out there that's not correct. So I'm here to inform you guys that if she is to go back to prison, she will be in Vandalia. She is not going back to Chillicothe pregnant.
As I stated yesterday, Gypsy's had a number of different reprimands from her parole officer. And a parole officer has a lot of different tools that they can use in order to add different stipulations, add more rules if necessary to keep her in line. And they will exhaust that before just putting someone back in prison, because the goal of parole is to get through parole and without going back. And the prisons are so full that they don't like to violate people for really small things. So some parole officers will and some won't. And I think when it comes to Gypsy, they're being very careful because there's such a big microscope that I believe that if she were to go back for something really small, there would be a lot of pushback from the public, from her attorney. So in order for them to be able to violate her, in my opinion, they would have to have a pretty strong case. And
not necessarily. Why would people be pushing back? Oh, I don't know whether you saw. I was on Reynolds' panel. I joined Reynolds' stream the other day, and that was a little bit of fun. I was a bit late to the party, but I was asked whether they could reopen the case. But I don't think they've ever done the fraud charges now, unless I'm wondering whether they could relook at the fraud charges, because I don't know if there's a statute of limitations. But that would be the only way they could put her back in prison for a while, I think. She does sound disappointed, doesn't she?
She would have to have like a demonstrated pattern. And so one thing that this former inmate did say was that if she were to try to contact her co-defendant, Nick, that could be something that they could automatically violate her for and send her back. We'll get to that in a second. In Rod's video, he stated that he was responding to claims that he had moved out, that he left Christy, and that Gypsy and Christy were fighting. Now, in his video, he actually doesn't deny that Christy and Gypsy were fighting. Instead, he uses a tactic where he shifts the goalposts and says, Christy has always loved Gypsy and has always spent all of her time and energy trying to have a good relationship with her. And she even did stuff in Hurricane Katrina and was looking for Gypsy and Dee Dee, and she's done better than even I have. So he never answered the question about the fight. Really, he was just trying to help Christy repair her image. And I'm sure he's doing this as a gaslighting tactic to try to make it so that we're confused that this fight happened. And the fight absolutely happened, according to my sources. He also indirectly confirmed what I told you yesterday.
According to her sources. You found a lot of Lego? Wow. You didn't step on any? That hurts, doesn't it?
In that Christy is more invested in the situation than he is. Christy is more invested in wanting to have a relationship with Gypsy than he is. And it's Christy that is pushing all of this on him. Now, he says he just wants to be a family and they've all made mistakes, and even Gypsy's made some mistakes. But again, not denying that the fight happened. There was something that happened. There was a fight that happened on Friday. Rod did leave the house and he was hanging out with family. I don't think he ever stayed in a hotel, and maybe he came back once everything cooled off. Regardless, things have gotten to a point where it's out of control, and Gypsy's out of control. And obviously that he's saying, we just want to be a family, and we just want to make sure that we can do this, and we're all going to make mistakes. I feel like this was the rhetoric that I always heard from them whenever something would happen, because they always fall back on the fact, like, mistakes are going to happen, mistakes are going to happen, mistakes are going to happen. And there's a difference between mistakes.
Well, doesn't she say, I've been manipulated, I was conned, I was...
Are going to happen, and actually being accountable to the mistakes that happen and changing what you're doing. And that's the problem with Gypsy, is that she doesn't change what she does. So what I noticed in the 7 months of her release that I maintained contact with them was that Gypsy was consistently making mistakes, not learning from mistakes, causing chaos within the family. And then the family was enabling her by basically trying to say, well, she doesn't know any better. She doesn't know this. She doesn't understand that. She had 8.5 years in prison, incarcerated, to do better, to learn, and to grow. Regardless if she doesn't have experience out here in the real world, she had 8.5 years in prison to try to change her ways. Okay. And she didn't. And she grew up with a mother that taught her criminal behavior, and she doesn't want to change that behavior at all. So the way that the former inmate explained it was that Gypsy would have to go meet with a parole officer, and there would be.
Peter, I'm just reading something about Linda Reynolds was saying that her publicized lying cow comment about Brittany Higgins was never about not believing Brittany Higgins. For the most important of the children. They say grandkids are the best, apparently. And this senator, those of you that remember Bruce Lemminger, Senator MP Linda Reynolds has told the Western Australian Supreme Court of the moment she realised the extent of what she claims was a pre-planned and premeditated attack by Brittany Higgins against her. So was the lying cow Janet? Well, you know. I had no idea how prepared their plan was. They had it was pre-planned, it was premeditated, it was a personal attack against me. So is she implying that Brittany Higgins got herself into a situation where she got hard to attack her? That is just low. Oh. And her lying cow comment was in reaction to the project where she said she didn't feel supported.
Police officer there if they were going to make the decision to violate her. What I can tell you, at least from what I spoke to my sources about today, was that Gypsy was supposed to go to the parole office yesterday at 9 a.m. And rather than going to the parole office, she, according to my sources, allegedly claimed.
Yeah, I probably will do I was wanting to do one every day with an update as what's come out, but it just hasn't happened. I'll have to do a bumper one over the weekend to catch everybody up.
That she was having pain, cramping, and bleeding, vaginal bleeding, and fears that she was miscarrying. And that she called the PO and told them that she had to go to the hospital because she needed to get checked out to see if she was having a miscarriage. It's interesting that she would use a medical emergency to try to get out of something, given that her history is to use medical emergencies to get attention and to get what she wants. Now, she's not going to get money by claiming this medical emergency, but she would be able to delay the inevitable of meeting with her parole officer. So as you noted, Rod says Gypsy's still pregnant. At least I think she's still pregnant. I don't know if she had a miscarriage.
Did I find out why I was demonetized? Apparently, I don't have original content, apparently. I would have thought my plan with me was original. But apparently it's not. So there you go.
Marriage. I don't know if she was even pregnant. I don't know if any of it. But what my sources say is she didn't meet with her PO yesterday. She instead went to the hospital and claimed she was having a miscarriage, and she was going to blame all of the stress from everyone online and all the behavior from her family and all the fighting for the reason. And she was going to blame her family for everything, because Gypsy will never acknowledge that it's her own behavior that people are responding to that are causing the chaos. She will never acknowledge that she is the origin of the chaos and creating the chaos. So I think the reason why Gypsy's afraid of meeting with her parole officer is because she has, I believe, been trying to contact Nicholas Godejohn. And the reason why I believe this is because recently her friend Bree, who is supposedly her best friend, was live on TikTok. And on her live, Bree brought on Nicholas Godejohn's uncle, David, who is also autistic and just like Nick, to speak to him about Nick's case. Bree made a point on the live, or she told Gypsy not to come onto this live and not to participate in the chat. That doesn't matter. No
like a medical attention emergency during George Floyd's conflict is not attention seeking. All other CC do the same. You even mix up with them. I know that. I know that, Gracie Lee. I know it's really bizarre. I don't know. Unless somebody's reporting me or something, I don't know. It took KJ 5 years to figure out that Gypsy's not honest. I know.
No one in Gypsy's life should be having any contact with anybody on Nicholas Godejohn's side, because it can be viewed by the probation and parole as a violation of her trying to have third party to third party contact to pass information. Bree almost positively is going to share any and all information she has about Nicholas with Gypsy, and Bree is likely going to share any and all information with David, and David is likely to share that with Nick. Gypsy, in my opinion, is very worried that Nick is going to tell the truth, because he now has an account that is called NPG Cornerstone, and this is an account where they're debunking a lot of the myths about his case, and he plans to share the truth, or share his side or share his information, and Gypsy doesn't want that out there. And why does she not want that out there? So I talked to an inmate that was in the prison with Gypsy, and you can take this for what it's worth, but she told me that in prison, Gypsy told other inmates that she helped Nick kill Edie, that she was more involved than she let on, that she actually allegedly stabbed her mother, and she was part of it, and that she has been lying the entire time that she hid in the bathroom and hid, closing her hands over her ears. I think she knows that too, because obviously she was in the room with him. And if anyone looks at those crime scene photos, it's obvious that this was a crime of rage, and Nick would not have had that kind of rage for a woman he had never met. So I believe that Gypsy doesn't want him to leak that, even though Gypsy has told so many people. I'm telling you, Gypsy has told inmates, friends, and family that she helped. So there's people allegedly in her family that know that Gypsy was culpable in this and is completely lying to the public, and it's all to protect her image and to make her look like the victim. Meanwhile, her co-defendant is rotting in prison on a first-degree charge, and he can never be paroled, and Gypsy is doing nothing to help him get out or even try to help him get a new trial. Gypsy could absolutely help by providing new evidence to the prosecutors in his case to help him get a reduced sentence. She could absolutely help, but Gypsy won't help, because even though there's this law about double jeopardy, Gypsy is in a very precarious situation. Gypsy's crime involved the use of the internet to plan and scheme and conspire over this crime. Gypsy's offender or co-defendant crossed state lines, and then once this unaliving took place, she crossed state lines with him. This case could easily become a federal trial because they used the internet. So the same.
What? When UKJ was talking to him, she did this to get back to Jay and for her family. I'd love to know how much KJ is paying for this information. What? This is
way, if you get money laundering with the federal government, they do money laundering as a federal crime when you use the internet. If you're planning an unaliving using the internet, it can become a federal crime. Because
what?
She was communicating with someone out of state, and 2 different states were involved in this case. She's well aware that in Missouri, she can't be tried, but anyone in her family, any one of her friends, Nick, could flip and work with the FBI and tell them the truth. And if the FBI feels like because she lied and because she only got sentenced and there's a feeling that she's a danger, she could easily be tried on the federal level for the crime. There's a loophole that allows, so under the current laws in the United States, a defendant can be found guilty in state court, and then federal prosecutors whose criminal statutes carry heavier sentences than the state can pursue a second case and actually substitute their sentence judgment for that of the state. So if she is wanting to keep the truth from coming out and doesn't want to get a federal charge of unaliving, she's going to want to press hard to make sure that he never opens his mouth. Because yes, she served her 10-year sentence with the state, but the feds can come in at any time because there's no statute of limitations for unaliving, whether it's federal or state. And
okay, I can't talk on this because I don't know how it works over there, but it seems a bit weird, because wouldn't they have already looked at that? There'd be a reason why they wouldn't have done it. I would have thought.
And the unaliving statute in the United States is that it can involve crossing state lines, using state-to-state like correspondence, using the internet to plan it, conspire, order things, purchase things, do research. So she has all of these trails of evidence of all the communication she has with Nick, which is outlining exactly what they're going to do. And then he comes from another state, which she pays for him to come, which is again federal. So she knows that even though she's out of,
So is she gonna put? So she mentioned money laundering. Is this now what she's going to accuse her of now? Money laundering. What about people smuggling?
No, the state can't retry her. The feds can. And if you're wondering if this happens, it does. R. Kelly, who had trafficking cases in multiple states, as well as federal trafficking cases, has charges and convictions both state and federally. So if there's new evidence that comes out and they find out, hey, she lied and she was more culpable in this and she is a danger to society, and Nick cooperates and she ends up spilling, she can go to prison. So Gypsy has been very desperate since her release to make sure that she keeps Nick in her clutches so that he doesn't turn on her. Because Nick knows what happened and he knows that he is still going along with her story about what happened that night. That isn't the truth. With that said, I've spoken to numerous people who are friends, who are inmates, who were former friends and family that all believe that Gypsy is still dangerous, that her sentence wasn't enough, that because of her manipulation and her lies, she hasn't changed, and she
forgiving phones to inmates. Just yes. She
hasn't reformed in any capacity. And now that people are being given new information about what she allegedly wasn't involved in, there's suspicions that she's nervous that not only she can go back for a violation with Nick, but that potentially new charges could be added for other crimes. Gypsy, and this is all like hypothetical, but I just want to help you understand why she's so desperate to keep him quiet. And so Bree's trying to pretend like it wasn't third party to third party, but it's very clear prosecutors and the parole board and the state understand how vulnerable Nick is to Gypsy, and they want to make sure that he doesn't have any contact with her whatsoever to protect him. Nick can reform away from her and he can actually do a lot better away from her, but under her spell, he easily falls underneath her influence. And look at what he did when he fell under her influence the first time. So right now, all of the stuff that you're seeing online, the response from Rod, the posts by Christy, and Gypsy posting about her pregnancy, and then she literally deleted her post about the mango. The mango post is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. She removed it from her profile feed. She posted something in her stories about being 15 weeks and 6 days. But all of this is a distraction to the reality of what's actually happening behind the scenes. And that is that Gypsy is continuing to violate. Gypsy is continuing to break rules. Gypsy is trying to find very unique ways to speak to her co-defendant. Gypsy has her best friend trying to communicate with his uncle. None of that looks good for her. And when she's finally told that she needs to come in to speak to her parole officer, and as you heard the other inmates say, when they're going into the office to have a meeting, she could be violated right there and the police could detain her immediately. And she doesn't want that. There's a lot of options that the parole board can put in place, from house arrest to 60 days to 90 days to 100 days to having to complete the whole sentence to adding completely new charges for other crimes that they might have found out that she committed. The only way it would go to actually a judge is if she commits a new crime and is charged with a new crime. And that, at this point, I know nothing about. But it's evident she doesn't want Nick to talk. And so what does she do? She fakes a medical emergency and says she has a miscarriage. And then her dad makes a video and says, well, she's still pregnant. At least I think she's still pregnant. And then he has to show everyone that Gypsy is at the house, not arrested. But what is Gypsy doing? Laying in bed in the middle of the afternoon. None of this is what she should be doing. Gypsy's supposed to have a job. She's supposed to be working. She's not supposed to be just laying around and doing nothing and making nothing of her life. Gypsy, this is her pattern though. She has no motivation to do anything. She spent her life being spoiled by her mother who gave her gifts and free.
I think she's getting this on her computer for looking up what she said. What Josh Watch was the worst, or how would she know? It is like she spoke to
stuff and got her tons of trips for being sick. And Gypsy has no work ethic. She just wants people to hand her stuff. And as inmates have said, she slept her way through prison, and now she's going to sleep her way through parole, I guess. And she's going to try to fake a miscarriage in order to not meet with her parole officer to find out if she actually has to go back to prison or if they're going to let her off the hook again. But either way, Gypsy has been so sloppy in all of this. You know, she says, I don't want to be anything like my mother. And the irony here is that Dee Dee was actually a way better con than Gypsy was, because she was way more under the radar than Gypsy. And another thing is that Dee Dee never hurt anyone to the extent that they ended their lives, or that their life was ended. So Gypsy is not as good of a con as her mom, but she's actually more dangerous than her mom because of what she did to her mom. And I recognize that people around the family are probably scared, and I recognize that friends are probably scared, and I recognize that people are watching this all play out and they're like horrified. But Gypsy needs to be held accountable, and she needs to stop having people enable her. And if Rod wants his martyr wife to look like the one that cares more, his martyr wife is enabling Gypsy right into another prison sentence. The family is enabling her right into another prison sentence. Gypsy probably should have been released to a halfway house where she could have had programs, outpatient therapy, inpatient therapy, had structure, jobs, all of that. She would be doing so much better than currently with a household that wants to help her cover for her bad behavior. And I don't think everyone in the family feels that way. And I certainly don't think that this cover up can last forever. But Nick deserves a new trial, and Gypsy needs to stay away from him. And if it's true that she's trying to contact him, her PO should violate her and she should go back to prison. But that's just my opinion. So what are your thoughts? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Bye, everyone.
Wow, what do you think? So what do you think about that? I'm hoping that this is going to show YouTube that I am actually a I am original. It's funny, isn't it? Well, yes, she is still mentally a child. You are correct. Do a poll to learn a lawyer as part of your original. Do we think US will beat Canada in archery? Well, we could do that. When's that on? I've been watching I watched the diving. I watched the mixed walk relay. That was really interesting. The women had to do the second and fourth leg, and the men had to do the first and third leg. And Australia did get bronze, by the way. So let me just wait for the chat to load, and then I'll do a poll, because we're original here, right? We're original. All right, here we go. A poll. Where do I do it? Oh, here. You've got no idea? Oh, dear. To original Joanne? Oh, dear. All right. Oh, wait on. Why don't we do this? Oh, it says start a Q&A. How do I start a Q&A? Answer viewer questions live. I can call myself OJ. Will? Oh, no, that's right. I did a different one. I did a different one. I did a poll. Do you think will the USA get more gold medals than Australia? That just makes sure that it's original. I don't know, but currently, like, we're fourth on the medal. Australia's fourth on the medal tally at the moment. So, you know, we're doing all right. Who has the stupidest lawyer? Will Gypsy name her baby Katie Joy? Huh. Oh, Badushia, I got demonetized again. Become the story of my life. That's what happened to the colors. And the sad thing is, I updated all the membership stuff too. Yep. Who have you unhidden? Oh, Lulu. So that's what's happened, Badushia. I got demonetized again. Still again. Wow. Will Katie Joy's lawsuit ever get settled? Is the other question. No, I don't. Everything's on hold, Badushia. I assume that I assume that it will come back once I get it sorted out. Everything's on hold. You should get an email to say that your membership's on hold. It's unbelievable. Hello, Bo. Welcome to the Demonetized channel. Just to show you in context, I'll show you. So when you go to here, let me just be honest and open with you all here. So this is what my dashboard looks like, and I've got this alert: channel, your channel is no longer eligible for monetization. So it clicks on here. It says it's under review, but it sort of tells you that it said that I didn't have original content. So, and like if I go to earn, it says your membership has been paused. While paused, your members cannot access perks. Their recurring payments are paused in your membership. On the Tavis channel. And your membership is invisible. You may lose some existing members whose membership set to renew during this time. After being paused for 120 days, channel memberships will be disabled from your channel. If YouTube needs to refund members, they will share your share will be deducted from your AdSense account. That's funny because they're still collecting from my AdSense account. So which means that you'll all get paid back for your money if they decide that but yeah, this is what I've got here. So important notifications. Your channel. So I'm not very happy. Not very happy at all. But it said not original content. It looks like you have not been putting original content on your channel. Or you've not altered content. I have altered content. So there's my videos. Then my shorts. My live. My posts. I've even been updating my posts. Like, maybe it was this one, the fact that I'm small-minded. Did anyone see, talking about being small-minded, did anyone see the pole vaulter the bar down with his third leg? Maybe I need to speak more. Can't get any more original than that. Play barnyards. Well, apparently, actually, we should look at the other video. Apparently, in the other video Katie Joy did, you can hear the keyboard going, and apparently she apparently hit the keyboard with her chest. So you said that everywhere with the pole vaulter. Wasn't that hilarious? That was just hilarious. Sometimes size matters. That was so funny. I have laughed and laughed and laughed at that bit. I was very disappointed because when they were doing the Olympics roundup, I actually asked whether they were going to ask about whether they're going to talk about the pole vaulter with his extra leg, knocking the bar over, and I was told no. And I went, well, if you want more audience, you need to talk about it. It was a French bowl. The pole vaulter. I tell you what, they've got some those French are well endowed, aren't they? Look, I love his headline. Look at his headline. Look at this. I was missing a little ball. He says he was missing a little pole. He's spoken out his big disappointment. I was disappointed because I didn't miss anything. I was 100%, but I was missing a little pole. Aussie great, Renee Stubbs said the footage was unbelievable. Seriously, when your sport is all about getting your body over the bar and it's a matter of millimeters, my man, call a drag queen. She'll teach you how to tuck it. It says the Frenchman's intrusive baguette. He's an intrusive baguette. And now he's going to be famous forever. Oh, yes. I think the problem is we don't have the rowing teams a little less beholding now. Missed it by a baguette. He says he was missing a little pole. I just love this. He has spoken about his big disappointment. Oh. And then this one says Olympic pole vaulter whose flesh. Tuck your croissants. Pole vaulter gains tens of thousands of followers in hours. He's 21. His social media following. So he had 5,000 followers. He's now got 68,000 in 24 hours. Oh dear. Oh, let's have a look. Does it show us? Tuck your croissant away. Oh, here we go. Oh, come on, show it to us. Oh. He has a girlfriend, hey? Oh. Oh dear. Oh dear. Anyway. French Olympic pole vaulter eliminated after his bulging manhood knocked over the bar. This one says Olympic pole vaulter bulge knocks down the bar. That's right. The French pole vaulter who went viral for knocking the bar off with his bulge. Bizarre reason the athletes' Olympics were ruined as awkward moment goes viral. Breaks his bulging manhood, hey? Yeah. Oh, now I'll probably get done for being X-rated, right? Apparently, Japanese pole vaulter hit made when he got in the wrong position during one of his attempts. So he's not the first one to do it. But yeah, all right. So this is just so we this one goes for half an hour. So we'll watch this and then I'm gonna probably call it a night. So I've still got some work to do. Oh, and then in Hanover, Toad just has some skin frizz runs and some low leaf sticks. That's right. Oh. Anyway, right, so let's speed this up and put subtitles on so that we can read them. Okay. Not all of Rod's interview. I did share some of it, but not all of it.
Fate will be decided tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully they need. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they should have to need. They should have to need proof. Like they can't just use text. I feel like not even text message. They should have it. Like I don't know. Somebody could have got hold of your phone. Like I don't know something. Like because people can use. There's like all kind of crazy phone apps and everything, girl. There's phone apps that can actually send you message that you can. Okay, so there's phone apps where you can type in. You can type in like your number. Say somebody can download this app, type in your phone number, and then send a text to someone, and it'll show that it's coming from your phone, even though it's not.
Wow.
Yes, that's why I feel like there's no way they can send you back to prison on this. Like, I would even bring up that, be like, I absolutely did never, like, I would be like, I would lie. I would say, absolutely didn't. And be like, there has to be a way that this text message was, like, falsified or whatever. Like, I don't know. I would just fight for your life, girl, because there are ways. That's the reason I feel like at the end of the day, like, they would have to prove it because there are ways for people to do that. There are actual apps. There are real apps that will show it's your phone number, even though it's not. Okay, thank God. I just started this YouTube live because I'm like on the phone. You're like, just lie.
Hi friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Monday, August 5th, 2024. So I did a really long live stream on Friday and I introduced you to Sora, who is a friend of Gypsy's, and we just talked about what we were learning about this case and just going through some of the records, really dissecting everything that we thought we knew that is no longer a fact. And the public was introduced to the story back in 2015. The sheriff's department said things are not always as they appear to be or as they seem. And they announced that there had been this ongoing fraud that had been perpetuated for years. And that the allegation at that point was that Gypsy Rose was involved in it. And then
Interesting, isn't it?
suddenly the internet decided that's not what the case was. And that in fact, everything was Dee Dee's fault, not Gypsy's fault. And this case became huge as Gypsy's narrative became fact, despite the fact that Gypsy is a pathological liar and the case was never fully investigated. So I just want to talk with you about a couple things that I've been told and found out since then that have left me a little bit shook. So on Saturday, a video was leaked that was posted by Penosaurus, who's a TikTok creator. And the video was from a live stream that was done on a woman named Bree, who is the friend of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And in the video, which you saw at the very beginning of this video, Gypsy is being instructed by Bree to lie to her PO about text messages that were sent to someone, and that to try to make the PO believe that somebody else had sent these messages and that it wasn't Gypsy and it was an app that did this.
He's toe copywriting you. You played his intro twice now. You're making money off his goose. That's true. That is true. Although I changed the lyrics the last time. But technically it was original.
That video blew up all over TikTok, all over social media. And people were amassing millions of views on TikTok with the title, Gypsy Rose is going back to prison. So that hasn't happened yet, by the way. We don't really know if that's going to happen, but that's been this ongoing theme, is that the dam has burst in the scheme, and it's breaking to the point now where it's completely destroying not only the Blanchard family, but the public. And it's been a week, okay? So the crime scene photos leak on Gypsy's birthday. She has lost tons of support. I let you all know that she was speed dialing TMZ. Suddenly, all the articles with TMZ dry up. There's been not as much output to the mainstream media related to Gypsy now that she's been exposed for contacting them and posting stories. I exposed that they're using a PR team to try to flip her into an influencer despite the fact of what she did, okay? And all of this has created a lot of unrest on social media.
Okay. She's mentioned. Oh, of course it is.
TikTok, YouTube, whatever. A lot of us that were introduced to this case and that followed the case from the beginning have been on a ride where we have been gaslit, misled, and completely confused by a family that wants us to believe a specific narrative that is just not backed by facts, not backed by proof. And they have relied upon the word of a woman named Gypsy Rose Blanchard, who is a pathological liar and literally cannot tell the truth if it would show her. Like, she doesn't, there's no truth to anything that she says. So on Friday, there was a content creator reporting that the police had been called to Gypsy's house and that there had been a incident that occurred between Christy and Gypsy, and that Rod was no longer staying at the house.
And she keeps doing it ad nauseum as well. That, I think that's the bit that's annoying, is that it's ad nauseum. It just doesn't seem to stop.
So I said that I would follow up on this, and I was provided some proof. I can't actually show it to you, but I don't know.
Of course she can't show it to you, right?
The police were called. I don't. If the police were called to her house, no arrests were made. There were no bookings for Christy or Gypsy whatsoever in the LaFourche Parish County Jail. There was no arrest posted. So really, at this point, if the cops were called, it didn't result in a charge, at least at that point. But I do know, based upon evidence I was provided today from a source that's connected to the Blanchards, that people are saying that Rod has left the house, or he had left the house. And it was due to fighting that was occurring between Gypsy and Christy, and Rod taking off and not wanting to deal with it. Everything is blown up in their faces. And apparently Christy and Gypsy have been fighting nonstop, relentlessly. And Gypsy's behavior, Christy's behavior, the two of them.
And Ken wants to be part of this.
Can't get their story straight. They have been running a scheme against all of us. And as they are fighting to keep it together, it's resulting in escalating arguments between the two of them. I know I told you that Christy had mentioned to me that she'd gotten into a fight with her kids about how she was treating Gypsy. Christy framed it to me that the kids were mad at her because they were treating Gypsy like a friend and not like a daughter. But that's actually the opposite of what someone else told me. So like I said, Christy lies. And what I was told was that the kids had confronted her about treating Gypsy more like a daughter and a child than them. And the fact that she was choosing Gypsy over them and that they couldn't handle the behavior of Gypsy. They couldn't handle Christy's behavior, and that it had all become so toxic. The people that I've spoken to said that they are very afraid of Gypsy, that they don't know what she's capable of, and that they believe.
Oh, apparently, just want to show you something. This is totally, this is to do with what we were talking about before. Totally not, something totally, what is it? It's going to make me very upset. It is annoying. You are correct. Oh, here we go. Oh, we have to go to Facebook, I think. Oh, looks like they've named. It looks like they've named the. They've named the hockey player. Oh no! No way. Guess what? We had him on our podcast. He's also a lawyer, by the way. Wowzers. Look. So, oh wow. Well, they've not laid any charges yet. They just said they witnessed. They've said here, it was like 1 gram or something, and the sellers had a lot more. He lives in Perth, and his girlfriend's part of the his girlfriend's also plays hockey. Oh wow! Wowzers! Wowzers! That is unbelievable. Anyway, this is what. Who was it? What was I talking about? I just something about. Oh yeah. I was just looking up about yes, cool. It could. Do I need to advertise the podcast again? I put the podcast out there. Go and listen. Is that why they demonetized me? Because he got arrested. Oh wow. I'm really shocked. As I said, he's a lawyer. He's a lawyer. He's a very intelligent man. Yeah, well, I'm interested to see what happens to that as well. I can't find what I was looking for now. I'll have to put the link on the podcast. Yeah, I'll put the link for the podcast out again, I think. Wow. Oh, YouTube. Yeah, let me just get that. As I said, I'm shocked. Well, I'm shocked. I mean, obviously, it has to be a misunderstanding because they would have pressed charges by now. Let's go back to this.
She's dangerous to everyone and everything, and that if anything were to happen and say this whole con gets exposed and something happens legally, or maybe there's arrests or something, or she goes back to prison, the expectation would be that Gypsy will try to frame Christy for all of it and say that it was all Christy that did this and she didn't play a part in it, even though what's been going on has been a combination of the family pushing lies that they knew were lies and then trying to run a scheme to make money and then profit off of it while also trying to contain the loose cannon that is Gypsy that has ultimately destroyed everything. So as the fights have gotten more and more escalated, there's been allegations of physical altercations between the two of them. Christy did mention to me that there was an alleged incident where she knocked Gypsy upside the head. That's what she said. Like I said, the last time I talked to Christy, she sounded very medicated. So she might not even remember telling me this. And she was claiming to have had a migraine. And so that's why I assumed she sounded so drowsy. But she had said that there was an incident where she knocked her upside the head. And I was actually shocked. I didn't think it was even like, why would you even touch your child that you love? That's an adult, by the way. Regardless, I knew at that point that things had gotten so bad that everything I knew at that point had to have been a lie. And the lie.
That is the link to the podcast that if you'd like to listen. Am I really exploiting the situation? Probably. As I said, he's a lawyer. He'd know how to. He'd be able to deal with himself. Deal with it. There's no. Okay.
Longer that I'm removed from this, the more I'm learning. And it's very obvious to me that I was a contributor to false information that this family was putting out and is still putting out. So I would just say that like anything that you're hearing, just take it with a grain of salt. If it's saying that Christy said it, Gypsy said it, Bree said it, or anyone in the family, because they are so paranoid about the truth coming out that they are like trying to allegedly pay people off, bully people into silence, like mad texting people to shut up, trying to intimidate people into silence. And they're frantic at this point to try to like cover this all up. But this has just been a huge con that has not only perpetuated and hit me personally, but it's hit the public. The mainstream media is snowed by her at this point, still believing her lies. Lifetime is pushing a narrative that's absolutely false. And here is some more information about what I was told. So this source was telling me that Christy and Rod Blanchard are now at this point well aware, and they've probably known for years, but now it's like they're just putting it all out there now or something that.
I mean, that's right. She's talking out of her butt, isn't she? Now, do I have Tom Craig link on my channel? Oh, maybe that's why I had to travel. Look at the video. I do. But I don't think I've got the video. Let me grab to see if I've got the video of it. I don't keep them for very long.
Gypsy was not a victim of Munchausen's by proxy, that Dee Dee was running a malingering scam to get free gifts and toys and accolades and money for Gypsy. They were telling people that Gypsy was helping her mom in the fraud and in the con, and specifically even into her adulthood was helping her mom defraud people for her mom and her to get free gifts, free money, free trips, money from celebrities, money from the community, and that none of it was real. And they allegedly knew that, but they are not going to put that out publicly because that story doesn't sell as Gypsy being the victim. Because that has been allegedly disseminated to multiple people. And it's been said that people at Lifetime might have heard him say that, might have heard them talk about this during filming, and they didn't bring it to air. But there seems to be a massive cover up right now to try to stop the truth from coming out. And people now who are here.
Well, yes, and she manages not to get demonetized or anything. You know?
Hearing the truth or what they believe to be the truth finally don't want to cover for them anymore and won't be paid off or bought off by them. But they won't go on record right now to say this is what they heard. So I'm just going to tell you that. So it's all alleged. So they know that Gypsy wasn't a victim of Dee Dee's at this point, and that they're allegedly calling it all a malingering scam. And Gypsy has apparently confessed to her family or to friends or someone that she also wasn't a victim of her mother and that all of this is just a farce. It was a malingering scheme. And so there's that part. As everything got heated up, apparently Rod and Christy's marriage is crumbling. And of course, Christy, trying to get ahead of the narrative, she posted on her TikTok that police weren't at her house and that it wasn't true and that everyone was lying. And, you know, obviously most of us know at this point that what Christy says publicly is 99.9% lies. And so it almost made me feel like when she posted that there could be truth, that Rod wasn't there. And then she was in comments on her TikTok, basically saying that Rod was sitting right next to her, even though other people were getting messages, other people saying that Rod wasn't home and he was staying with other family members. Then, so the Rod and Christy marriage is blowing up. Christy and Gypsy are fighting. Now there's this pending issue with Gypsy and her parole. So Gypsy has rules that she has to follow with parole. And while rules and violations don't necessarily mean revoking her parole, okay? So she can violate her parole and not be sent back to prison. They can add different stipulations to her parole. They can take on different, rules. She can be given different guidelines. They can modify it in lieu of sending her back to see if.
Well, how would they know that? Well, that's right. She said that he wasn't around. So, it's very confusing, isn't it? This is the video of the Tom Craig interview. It's the video version, by the way, the video version. And remember, it's all alleged because there's been no charges laid.
Adding more restraints will keep her more in check. But what I was told is that there has been more than 8 different violations that she has received either reprimand or citations for, and that because of the number that she's gone, that she was supposedly meeting with her PO today in person at their office to talk about this video that came out where she's being instructed to lie to her parole officer by her friend Bree. And Bree, by the way, also has a misdemeanor conviction, and her husband, Bree's husband, her best friend's husband, who she's getting all this life advice from, he's facing felony charges for theft and forgery, and he was arraigned on July 23rd, 2024. So Gypsy is associating with a couple that has one of the partners facing felony charges, which is, again, another violation of her rules. So I can give you sort of a rundown of what they told me were some of the incidents, and they couldn't remember all of them, so I do apologize. But one specifically they said was that Gypsy has been staying too many nights in a row at Ken's house without permission from her parole officer, and that she was allowed to stay, 3 or 4 nights at Ken's house. But the reason why she is not allowed to live with Ken is due to the fact that Ken has unresolved misdemeanor cases from the state of Texas, in Austin, Texas, unresolved from 2014 and 2015.
So technically, based on that, then if she can't stay with him, why is she allowed to be around him?
With no less than 5 of these cases having open fines that Ken owes to the court. And the cases aren't for anything major. It's like traffic citations, driving without insurance, failure to maintain liability insurance where he owes $331 to the court. So there was a failure to appear in 2013. There's with a fine of $223. There's another one.
Oh yeah, and just dots everybody. Just look. She's also put his full name there as well, and his complete full name there. Okay.
For a failure to appear in June of 2014 with another fine of $223. He has no driver's license with a fine of $265 that hasn't been paid. And then he has another one for failure to appear from November 17th of 2010. And all of these have outstanding fines. And so because he has these unresolved cases in the state of Texas, he's not permitted for her to live with, and she's restricted to spending so many days with him at a time, according to the source. And that was one of her violations.
As an opinion, yes.
Other one was that they said that because of her repeated violating of the parole officers and the parole's rules, she had been given a curfew and been designated that she has to be home at certain days and certain times. And she violated that multiple times she wasn't home at the designated time and she was breaking her curfew that was set by the parole officer. Another one was she went to a bar with some of her friends. And I think Zora talked about this on Friday, where she was flashing someone. And they said she went to a bar with friends and she flashed a bartender, and she is not allowed to go into an establishment that serves alcohol. And she was cited and reprimanded for that. Another one was contacting inmates through Ryan's Securus account, which again gave her a citation and a reprimand. Another one was that she's currently dealing with now is related to scheming to lie to her parole officer with the help of her friend Bree. Bree went on her social media and falsely claimed that it's all good with her parole officer and Gypsy's not going to prison. Another one was conduct related to what you.
Yes, from ages ago, right?
You saw on the show with social media related to videos, comments, and live streams, where she appears to have been trying to send messages or contacting her co-defendant, Nick Godejohn, where she spoke about him, where she posted videos about her friends, like Amelia Bird. And then other ones were related to associations with people that she is prohibited from associating with due to their own convictions. And then one of them had to do with when she got out of prison and she failed to report immediately to Louisiana, instead stopped in Kansas City. So she has been dealing with numerous issues on her parole. And despite that, at this point, she has not been sent back to prison. Now, Gypsy had said to Zora like a week ago or weeks ago that she was given a written warning and it was her last one, and the next one she was going back. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if she's going to go back. Right now, at this time, at present, Gypsy is not in custody in LaForge. Yeah, she's not in custody. There's no.
Did you hear that? Have a listen.
The city. So she has been dealing with numerous issues on her parole. And despite that, at this point, she has not been sent back to prison. Now, Gypsy had said to Zora like a week ago or 2 weeks ago that she was given a written warning and it was her last one, and the next one she was going back. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if she's going to go back. Right now, at this time, at present, Gypsy is not in custody in LaForge. She's not in custody. There's no active warrants at this.
Did you hear that?
I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if she's going to go back. Right now, at this time, at present, Gypsy is not in custody in LaForge. She's not in custody. There's no active warrants at this time for her arrest, which it could take time. I mean, here's the thing, according to Missouri law and parole, and it depends on who's going to revoke her and who's going to take responsibility for her, whether it would be Missouri or Louisiana. They would have to get a warrant for her arrest, and they would have to go to court and go through a revocation process. So as of right now, that hasn't happened as far as I know. So at this point in time, she hasn't been revoked. We won't know unless we hear anything from law enforcement or if there's a warrant, but currently there's not.
The blockety blocks. I don't know what it sounded like, a keyboard.
And then there's also some tea regarding this baby. So I told you that there has been a lot of speculation about if Gypsy is even pregnant. Is she faking it? Are Christy and Gypsy putting this and baking this together? I told you that Christy had told me that Gypsy is not fit to be a mother. She can't take care of herself, that she doesn't have any life skills to do anything for herself, that she's basically a mess. And Gypsy has told Christy that Ken is too immature to be a father. She doesn't even know if Ken will be able to be a good husband because he's not mature enough to have a job. And Ken has been lying publicly that he has a job when he doesn't. Well, according to my source, basically what they told me is that there is now heavy suspicion within the family that Gypsy isn't even pregnant. Now, Gypsy has been pretending and faking to have miscarriages by telling people around her that she can't be stressed out in any capacity, and that if they do something to stress her out, that will be the reason why she miscarries the baby. But now some people around her don't even think that she's pregnant at all, and that all of this was some sort of scheme devised by both Christy and Gypsy in order to get publicity and another season. I can't tell you for sure if that's true, but let's just say there are doubters even within.
I mean, to me, it would strengthen the reason why it needs to be under seal. I mean, it'd be horrible for those of us watching the case for it to be under seal, but it would protect everything.
In the circle and their family that don't believe that Gypsy's pregnant. And it's based upon Gypsy's behavior. And then in regards to Gypsy's relationships with her siblings, she has apparently not won favor. Her siblings are turning on her at this point because I guess things have gotten so bad that they don't really support her behavior. They are putting out things publicly to save face. Like basically what I was told today about Mia is that Mia is.
Oh, and don't forget, she was certain the baby was Ken's, right?
is publicly supporting her, but privately she doesn't support her at all. And that was my experience offline. That's literally what Christy would tell me, is that Mia wasn't down with any of this, didn't support any of it, but she was, going along with the game for Christy to save face, and that the brother Dylan is completely unsupportive of everything. Like doesn't support Gypsy in any capacity. So publicly, Gypsy's like, oh, I love my siblings. Privately, it's not like that at all. And a lot of it is because Gypsy has made confessions, like, admitting allegedly to people within the family that her mom never abused her, and that she made up this whole lie about Munchausen's, and that there's even some questions now by the family about her role in the crime and whether or not she played a more significant role than what she has alleged publicly. I've told you repeatedly that Gypsy's family on the Petrie side, Dee Dee's siblings, don't believe for a minute that Gypsy wasn't involved. They believe that she held the weapon, that she helped with the.
I know. It's a wonder she knows what time she.
Aliving. They believe that she set up Nick Godejohn to take the fall for her. They believe that, some of them even speculate that Nick didn't actually unalive Dee Dee and that she was already unalive when he got there. I heard that a couple weeks ago from someone that was on the side of the family that isn't talking to Gypsy. Oh, and then here's another thing. Rod has left the house. The siblings, some, and the kids are all.
I wonder if the lawyers have said to her, shut up about you're going too far. She's not made a comment for Roberto again for a while. No, she hasn't.
Pissed off. Apparently, some aren't even talking to Christy at this point. Family members on all sides. So on the Petrie side and even on Rod Blanchard's side, have you noticed that Rod doesn't have any family members besides him that speak? You haven't heard from his parents or any of his siblings. Well, today I was told that's because literally no one on Rod's side of the family supports what they're doing. So much so that Rod was hesitant when all of this happened, according to my source. So when Gypsy was arrested and when everything plays out, he was reluctant to get involved in the case because he had such an estranged relationship with Gypsy, but that Christy was the one that was pushing him and forcing him to have this relationship with her. And as they were preparing for the release, apparently Rod didn't want her to live with them at all. He didn't trust her. He didn't know her well enough. He didn't have a relationship with her enough. He didn't know Gypsy enough to feel like it would be safe for her to live there. And do you remember on the show how they had that fake conversation where Christy said that Gypsy wanted to live at Ryan's house because she didn't feel like she wanted to burden her parents? And then she put it on Rod and said, you should have told her it was okay to come here or something like that. And there was just this innuendo that it was Rod's fault that this happened. And then Rod felt guilty. Well, what I was told is when Gypsy and Ryan split up, Rod did not want Gypsy to move in at all. And apparently
no, I don't know, but she talks about, I need to upload the other bit of the TikTok, but she talks about she's got an excellent lawyer that will bury them if they want to take
kids did not want Gypsy to move in with them at all because none of them trust her and they all think she's dangerous, allegedly. And now people are concerned about Christy because she has gotten herself so enmeshed with Gypsy that they're concerned that if Christy crosses Gypsy too much, that Christy could end up unalive like her Dee Dee. I was told that there are family members that have said that she was responsible for the death. She set up Nick and that she's not safe. They believe she will do this again. And that because of Christy getting so close to Gypsy and just completely ignoring all the red flags about what Gypsy's doing and developing the scheme to make money, that now they believe that Christy is in danger of getting potentially unalive by Gypsy. And that because Gypsy is so unpredictable and is a known schemer and has used social media to plan these crimes, that they are telling everyone and anyone that Gypsy is a danger to everyone and everything, including any unborn child. And this is why they are also hoping and believing that Gypsy is not pregnant. So much so that some family members are like social media, noticing that in some photographs, Gypsy has what appears to be a larger stomach. And then in other photos, looks like she's not expecting at all. That's why, again, they feel like all of this was a setup. So to get out of it, they're going to have to fake a miscarriage, I guess. That's how much her family doesn't trust her. There are people in her family that believe she's lying about this pregnancy because she's done this so many times. And it's not hard to fake ultrasounds and steal them from other people. It's not hard to make this some sort of hire people to pretend they're doctors to say she's pregnant, because we don't know if she was actually at a clinic or if that was all for a show, right? We have no clue. And Gypsy will go to any length to deceive and defraud. And they said that they don't think that Ken even knows that she might not actually be pregnant and that she's faking this, or that she was pregnant, that she's no longer pregnant. I don't know. There's so much conflicting information, but it feels like the walls are caving in and Rod and Christy's marriage is floundering and he's not at the house anymore. Christy has had altercations with Gypsy where she's hit her. And there has been fighting, constant fighting about money, fighting about the pregnancy, fighting about keeping her under control, fighting about her going to school and getting a job, fighting about her being entitled and immature and lying and deceiving and constantly causing drama. This is what Christy wanted, but Rod didn't. Rod apparently did not. not want this. Like Christy pushed this on him. And now this is where they're at, where Rod doesn't even want to be around Christy or Gypsy. And Christy and Gypsy are now stuck at a house fighting because Gypsy can't go stay at Ken's house because he has unpaid tickets and stuff in Texas. And she's at the parole office today, apparently waiting to decide if they're going to revoke her or not and whether or not she's going to go back to prison. And then if she goes back to prison, they have absolutely no idea how they're going to spin it, but they know that the story is falling apart. So that's what I've got for now. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed and click the bell so you never miss a video. Bye, everyone.
Okay, so there you go. Oh yeah, I'm a bit. I think that's what she said. Yeah, I must say I tune out. So that's Tom and so that's Tom Craig and his girlfriend. So apparently they said of 1 gram of cocaine. The other guy was found with 75 ecstasy tablets. It says, under French laws, a payment of as little as $150 could see the Australian escape with an on-the-spot fine. They'll do it. So it says he's a Sydney product. He lives in Perth, actually, at the moment, because that's where the hockey base is. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's a big misunderstanding. But have a listen to the video and have a listen to him on the podcast and tell me what you think. So yeah. Okay, well on that note, I'll love you all and leave you all, and I will catch you next time. And hopefully we can sort this monetization issue out. And yeah, until next time, I'll catch you later. Please make sure you hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you all later. Bye for now.